I've been staring at the camera for the past half an hour, just thinking about how I'm going to introduce myself. And I still don't know. So let's give this a go. My name's Becca, and this is my AuthorTube channel, where I will attempt to finish my book. It has taken me so far roughly 8 years to get to the second draft. I say second draft. The first draft was more like a really long, detailed outline. And the second draft is more of a first draft. So anyway, it's taken me 8 years to get to this point. I have 2 children who take up a lot of my time, of course, as they should, rightly so. Don't tell them I said that. And obviously work when I was working. I'm now not working. Both my children are now at school. My little one has just started in reception, so he's now off full-time, and I have all this time that I can actually write my book. And I thought, what better time to start the YouTube channel than now? It's literally now or never, so it's got to be now. So I don't want to say too much about what I'm working on and what my book's about, but I will tell you it's a fantasy romance with elements of time travel, so kind of historical. Yeah, and it's been my book baby for the past 8 years, and it's a long labour. So during COVID, I didn't get a lot of writing down. I say during COVID, we're still in COVID. I'm referring to lockdown. So first year and a bit, I was homeschooling my 2 children. Well, actually one of them. So my first one, who's in year 4 now. So she had a lot of homeschooling that I had to do, being stay-at-home parent. So my writing took a back seat for that period of time, and trying to keep my youngest entertained as well. Yeah, it didn't work out as hoped. I've been getting back into the swing of my story over the past week and a half. After a long break, I would say I had probably, oh goodness, about 3 months where I didn't write. So getting back into my story, working out where I left off, what's going on, and where I need to go. And yesterday I had the best writing day ever. It was the first day that I sat down and actually felt like I was back in the swing of it. And we are going to find out together how many words I got, because I have no idea. I just know that there's a lot of purple, and purple's good because it means it's new writing. So it turns out that yesterday I reached 1,295 words, which is bloody brilliant for me. I'm not the fastest writer. I'd like to take you on this journey with me. Follow me. We're going to get this book written, the second draft. You'll find out more about it as we go. I imagine I'll talk about it more, but for now I'm going to get started on finishing chapter. What chapter am I on? Chapter 29, I think, or is it 30? No, it's it's chapter 29, yeah. I am back in it, I promise. My chapters tend to be quite short. To begin with, they were quite long, and then I realised that actually chapters for me work out better if I can condense them and make them shorter and end on a cliffhanger and then start the next chapter, even if the next chapter starts sort of in the same scene but it ends on a kind of moment. The beginning of my second draft is, it starts out with longer chapters and then I've shortened them, so I'm going to have to go back and change that within the first few chapters, but that's something that I can do in edits, so that's fine. So I have my huge outline here on my corkboard, as you can see, with all the acts. I follow the Save the Cat Writes a Novel method because it's just brilliant. If you're a writer and you haven't read that book, Save the Cat Writes a Novel, read it. It's amazing how much you get from that. It makes so much sense to me, and I know not everybody's going to be the same, and that's fine, but it's well worth reading if you want any advice on how to structure a story. So this is my outline, and it looks in the camera like nothing makes sense and it's a total mess, but I promise to me it makes sense. I do, as I do write in my notebook as well to outline each chapter as I go. I just find it easier to write if I have a clear picture of what's going to happen in that chapter, instead of going just by the outline. So if you're wondering if I'm a plotter or a pantser, definitely plotter. I can't pants. To save the life of me, I can't pants. So I'm just going to update my bullet journal. I hope I can get a lid off my pen while holding my phone. So I tend to keep count of the word count in my bullet journal. It hasn't been the best start to the month. Well, this week up here, the kids were still at home this week. Then, hold on, where are we? Yeah, my computer broke here. I got no writing done here because I was still trying to find a computer. Set up my computer this day. Still got some words here. The 178 words I got on this day was just about 5 minutes into when my computer broke. And then I got a few the day that I actually set it up. And then, yeah, this day I had other things that I had to do. I couldn't write. On the 10th day, what was this? 341. Not great again. As I said, it's been really difficult trying to get back into the swing of it, back into the writing frame of mind when you've had such a long break. So here we go. This was the weekend. I try not to write on the weekends because obviously my children are home and my husband, so it's kind of, it's more family time. And then Monday, yes, my youngest was actually ill on Monday, not COVID related, thankfully. Yesterday was the 14th, so we can write in, I've forgotten how much I did now, 2000, you wish, 1,295, I think, right, 1,295. So as you can see, that is a good day for me. So I'm going to go over what I wrote yesterday just to remind myself what I actually got done and where I am and where we need to go. watched an interview with Neil Gaiman, who I'll link it below because it's a really good podcast. He goes to his place where he writes, and he's allowed to look out the window, he's allowed to stare into space, he's allowed to do anything that doesn't involve doing anything other than writing or staring out of the window. So he can sit there and do absolutely nothing, or he can write. And that's what I've been trying to do. I'm talking to the phone camera to you now, but that is a distraction, I'll admit. But other than that, I've been trying to either just write or stare straight ahead, which this is my view. Actually, I really like my view. It's just like a wall hanging tapestry, but I really love it. I would love to have an amazing place to write, like with a view of a lake or a forest, but you know, that's not achievable at this moment. One day maybe, but right now this will do. So yeah, I can either stare at this, which I have been doing as well, admittedly, or I can write, and that process has actually helped me. So I'm not allowed to go onto any other websites or onto my phone apart from when I'm filming. So yeah, it's interesting. I find I'm getting a lot more words down this way. So it turns out I was on chapter 30, not 29. So I've just come to the end of chapter 30. It was a chapter, well, a couple of chapters that I was really looking forward to writing, and have built it up a lot. It took a lot to actually get through, especially as I'd had to leave it kind of midway and pick it up again. So it was quite difficult to actually get through, but I did it, and I'm now on chapter 31, which is amazing because it means I get a break from typing and I can go back to my notebook and start to write notes and outline chapter 31. So in the next chapter, I've had to change it quite a lot from how I'd originally wrote it, just because the story just has taken on a different shape than when I first wrote it, which is great. You know, I think stories should evolve and change as you're writing. It's difficult to deviate from what you had planned and what you had written, but you have to do that in order for your story to grow and to form. Otherwise, why bother? You know, why bother with edits and rewrites? You've got to allow yourself to make those changes that you need to make. Good morning. We are on day 2 of the vlog. Yesterday I didn't finish outlining chapter 2, mainly because shortly after, chapter 2? 31. Thank goodness. Chapter 2. Yeah, it was basically because shortly after I had to pick up the children from school and get dinner, evening routine done, and that usually exhausts me by the end of that, both emotionally, mentally, physically. Didn't get any more done, but today we're gonna finish the outline. We are gonna finish the outline and hopefully start writing chapter 31 as well. So that is the plan. I just totted up the word count for yesterday, and we got to 1043, which is pretty good. Not far off the previous day, so happy with that. And let's see what we can get done today. So I did actually start to keep a binder for this project of all the things that are helpful to my characters, to the location, any timelines, and you know, a series Bible. I do plan to do one more book after this in the same series. So I've got character profiles, outline, settings. There's something I can't say because it would spoil it. Medieval reset, timeline, crystals. I can tell you that there's a lot to do with crystals in the book, and power of crystals, like their energy. That's probably all I can say on it at the moment. Yeah, and then right at the end I do have book 2, a book 2 tab. So yes, there is a book 2 in the plan. We'll get there. I need to work out in the timeline how old somebody is in order to write this next chapter, and what happens. So it spans a long time, okay? So I've got from 1455 to, we're in 2018. So that's the time span that we're kind of dealing with. And it was really tricky trying to make this timeline and make everything fit in, because there's a few different jumps within the timeline. Yeah, working out who's doing what when the other one's doing other things. So marrying up the timelines was quite difficult. So I need to find out how old this character is. Okay, just worked it out. So once my characters from the past travel to the future, they no longer age in that future timeline. So their age stays the same, and they can only travel back as far as where they came from. So whoever's in the past will be the same age when they go back, if they go back. It's all very confusing. I don't know why I chose time travel. It's really, really damn tricky. But we live and learn. Don't write time travel. So I do actually have a working title. Obviously I don't know if it's going to stick. We'll see. By the end it could completely change. But at the moment we're calling this project Silver Soul. There we go. The big reveal. Project Silver Soul. But yeah, I don't know if that title will stay. It might change, but at the moment it works, so we'll see. Okay, we are still on the same day. Excuse the outfit change. The dress I had on was leaving black dye all over my fingers. It was a new one and obviously needs washing beforehand, and not with anything else apparently. We've made progress. We have finished chapter 31 outline and started writing. So we're all good. We're doing well. Apart from the black dye. It's about 11:57 now, so we're going to see how much more we can get done this afternoon after I've had a little break, because my mind's starting to kind of fog a little bit now. And then yeah, we'll see how much more we can get done before the pickup. I always say, oh, you know, I'll write more after the kids have gone to bed. Never happens. Rarely happens. sometimes, but rarely. I'm on a roll with this chapter now. I feel like this is going to be a good one because it's now got to the point where my two main characters have to have a conversation, which is just another push for them to come together. But you know, as with all good slow burns, they're not there yet. So I've just received a package in the mail. Don't show the address side, Becca. As a writer, I find it really exciting. It's a pen. I bought this pen because I watched an interview on a podcast with Neil Gaiman, where he talks about the pen that he always uses, because his process of writing is in a notebook. So he writes his first draft in a notebook, and he talks about the pen that he always uses, and it's a certain fountain pen, but he suggested this one, which I'll talk about in a minute. And I've never had a fountain pen before, and like I said, I do a lot of my planning and plotting in a notebook. I'm always planning the chapters as I go, but I never have a specific pen that I reach for. It's always just whatever's around, whatever's easiest to do. Usually my daughter is the one that comes in and takes the pens off my desk, so I can never find one. This one is going to go under lock and key. I've never spent this much on a pen before, and it wasn't hugely expensive, but for a pen it's definitely probably the max that I would go. The pen that he uses, I forget which one it was now. Actually, he's had a very funny story in the podcast. I'll link it below. It's a good podcast. Where his pen that he used on the tour for signing his books is now stuck behind the fireplace in his house, thanks to his 3-year-old. I thought that was quite funny. So whoever buys that house in the future, it's going to be very rich if they can get that pen out. Yeah, so the pen that he recommended was the Lamy. Is it Lamy or Lamy? I'm not sure. Let's say Lamy. I could be butchering that. And it's the Lamy Safari pen, and the colour I got, oh, it's so pretty. It's a pen. It's pretty though, like this colour. Look at that colour. I love that colour. I have not had a fountain pen since I was at school. Like, this is what they do to focus on things, isn't it? Why is that not focusing? Maybe it's too, I don't know. There we go. It's pretty. It's green. It's a fountain pen, and I'm excited to have it. Is that sad? I don't feel like it's sad. I'm excited, genuinely excited. I'll leave it linked below if anyone's interested. Is it too much that I now want to rewrite all of my chapter 31 planning just so I can use the pen?